রিভিউটি সম্পূর্ণ উপভোগ করতে ভিডিওটা বোঝা শেষ পর্যন্ত দেখবেন। Bye. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share.
Dell did send this to me for free, but as you can tell if you stick around to the end of the video, these are all my honest opinions. Now, when I was asked to review a Dell laptop, this is kind of what I envisioned. But no, this new Dell XPS13 is an amazing piece of hardware. It was released in late 2015 and starts at $799. The model I have is the 9350 with Windows 10, Intel 6th generation Core i7-6500U 2.5 GHz processor, 16 GB of RAM, 1 TB PCIe solid-state drive, Intel HD 520 graphics, and a 13.3-inch Quad HD Infinity Edge touch display. And this model costs around $1,500. The Dell XPS13 is currently the world's smallest 13-inch laptop, fitting a 13.3-inch display into a typical 11-inch laptop frame thanks to the nearly bezel-less display. The outside is made of dark silver aluminum that definitely shows off its simple yet durable design. The inside of the laptop has a smooth carbon fiber finish, which looks nice but feels even nicer. The left side has the charging port, a new USB-C Thunderbolt 3 port, a USB 3.0 port, a headphone jack, a battery gauge button, and the left speaker grill. The right side has a lock slot, a USB 3.0 port, an SD card reader, and the right speaker grill. When I first saw the Dell XPS13, I immediately thought, yep, this is Dell's attempt at a MacBook killer. But it's hard to determine exactly which MacBook is closest in similarity to the Dell XPS13. It has the stunning display like the Retina MacBook, it has the portability and slimness like the MacBook Air, and it has the power and ports comparable to the 13-inch MacBook Pro. Obviously, my 2009 15-inch MacBook Pro is slower and bulkier than the Dell XPS13, but I did install an SSD and more RAM in my MacBook Pro a few years ago, so that's why it has lasted me this long and still works perfectly. So let's see how the Dell XPS13 performed for me during the past month. Let's start with the Infinity Edge touch display because it's one of my favorite features. The 3200 by 1800, but hey, at least it's an HD webcam, unlike some other laptops that we know of. The touchscreen is a glossy finish with scratch-resistant Gorilla Glass, but they do have a matte finish option for their non-QHD model if that's what you prefer. Speaking of the touchscreen capability, it's definitely not necessary, but it is fun to use and actually convenient to have. It's very responsive. Now you're probably thinking, Andy, there's no way I would ever need a touchscreen on my laptop, but hear me out. Let's talk about one of the best yet most frustrating features of the Dell XPS13, the touchpad. I'll start by saying this is the best touchpad I've ever used on a Windows laptop. One of the reasons I immediately fell in love with my MacBook Pro when I first got it was the trackpad and mainly the two-finger scrolling. Apple really mastered their trackpad not just with the physical smoothness of touching it, but with the smooth, buttery two-finger scrolling and multi-gestures. I've never had any problems with the Apple trackpad. And for the most part, the Dell XPS13 touchpad does a good job at implementing these features. I've especially enjoyed the three-finger tap and swipe gestures, and the touchpad is comfortable to use. However, it does have big problems in certain apps, most importantly Google Chrome. This may be a Chrome issue or a Windows 10 driver issue because the touchpad works great in Microsoft Edge and Internet Explorer. In those apps, the two-finger scrolling is almost always smooth, but in Google Chrome, the touchpad is nearly unusable. It constantly causes the page to jump up and down when trying to two-finger scroll. I tried changing any relevant touchpad setting in Windows and nothing seemed to fix this problem. It's extremely frustrating because I need precise smooth scrolling when responding to my YouTube comments one by one. Now, I thought it was just me, but it seems like others are having the same problem, so hopefully this gets fixed soon with an update. But that's why the touchscreen is convenient to have, because I can scroll on the display instead of on the touchpad when needed. On the other hand, I love the keyboard. It has backlit chiclet style keys, which I got accustomed to on my Mac, and I seem to be able to type super fast like Bruce Almighty on this thing. Now let's talk about where the Dell XPS13 really shines, mobility and performance. It weighs less than 3 pounds and is super thin, making it one of the most portable laptops out right now. It's much easier to carry around compared to my 15-inch MacBook Pro. It has a 56 watt-hour battery that lasts a decent amount of time. I'm getting around 6 to 12 hours of battery life on a single charge, closer to 6 hours when I'm streaming Spotify and watching YouTube videos the whole time, and closer to 12 hours when I have the brightness down and I'm just browsing the web or typing notes. It takes about 2.5 hours to fully charge the battery while using the laptop. In addition, you can purchase the separate Dell Power Companion, which is a portable battery that can charge your XPS13 and other devices in case you need some extra power for a special trip. On the performance side of things, with Intel 6th generation Core i7 Skylake processor and 16 GB of DDR3 RAM, the XPS13 is a speedy machine and can handle nearly any day-to-day task. The 1 TB PCIe solid-state drive has considerably fast read and write speeds, which you will notice when the laptop starts up from a cold boot in about 10 seconds flat. I was able to copy 16.5 gigabytes of video files from my SD card onto the Dell's SSD in 3 minutes and 31 seconds. Like with any solid-state drive, apps load very quickly, and I don't think I've ever gotten stuck with the spinning circle of death. I tend to have a ton of browser tabs open at the same time. That's just the way I work, and Dell XPS13 did a great job at handling that. No freezing, no stuttering, nothing like that. And the XPS13 got a respectable score on the Geekbench benchmark tests. So even though this Ultrabook was designed primarily with mobility in mind, it's still fast and powerful. Don't expect to edit 4K videos or render 3D graphics, but it can handle some casual HD video editing and other multimedia work. Another exciting feature is the new USB-C Thunderbolt 3 port, which has transfer speeds up to 8 times faster than USB 3.0 and is twice as fast as Thunderbolt 2. And if you need more ports, you can purchase the Dell adapter, which can turn the USB-C port into a single hub for Ethernet, USB, HDMI, and VGA ports. As you can see, I really do enjoy the Dell XPS9360.